My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the president of United in Peace, Inc. And I want to let everyone know that this show has been put together by none other than the chairman of United in Peace, Inc. And I know a lot of you, my viewing audience, know that I am also the host of this show called The Bradley Report. The chairman of United in Peace, Inc. that helped produce this show, she helped me get my talent, she helped me get the issues, is none other than Terry Marsh. And as you all know, I've been blessed by God to be her husband. So with that being said, let me say, to God be the glory. Starting off this show, I want to say hooray, hooray, hooray to those judges that made the decision to keep Tim Evans, the chief judge of the county of Cook. He won with 145 votes out of 400 judges that had the right to vote. His opponent, Judge Laura Probst, I believe she had 129 or 121 votes. It's interesting, to say the least, that this was supposed to be like a secret vote. We as a people didn't have anything to say in making a decision who would be the chief judge for the county of Cook. Only judges. That's why people, this election in 2017, that's dealing with the judiciary is so important. Be it circuit court judges, sub-circuit judges, appellate court judges, and most importantly, the Supreme Court judge. This year is very important. No, 2020 is very important because March 17th is the election. I'm glad that the judges made a decision to keep Justice Tim Evans, because he's a part of this criminal justice reform. Him, Clerk Dorothy Brown, Cook County Board President Tony Prattwinkle, Kim Fox, Sheriff Dart, is a part of the criminal justice reform. So I'm glad that the judges made a decision to keep Tim Evans, and I'm going to say hooray, hooray, hooray. Now, this is what got people upset. The city paid $213 million to defend cops in trouble. $213 million they paid to Pinstripe Patronage. Private law firms getting paid taxpayers' dollars by individuals who used to work in the law department. They end up becoming private attorneys and then get hired by the city to be paid for cases that they can't defend. $213 million to defend cops in trouble. the same people that defend the bad cops, their leadership in the Fraternal Order of Police, along with white supremacists, are leading the charge to get rid of Kim Foxx because she believes in criminal justice reform and believes that an individual whose case has been tainted because of police misconduct and they become wrongfully convicted, and then they come back and they sue the city because of bad officers and the misconduct, from police murder to police torture to framing individuals. So now this mass hysteria, we got to get rid of Kim Foxx. And the Fraternal Police, I even wrote a letter that said that they wanted to get rid of Kim Foxx because she were freeing, pretty much, and I'm paraphrasing, freeing individuals because of the misconduct of police officers who have been found guilty and ended up going to the federal penitentiary. Case in point, you probably heard about this case of Nathan Fields, who was a John Birch torture victim. He was on death row. He get a pardon from former Governor Ryan. He get out, he filed a suit. Then the jury awarded him $20 million. Those lawyers that's a part of this $213 million that received part of this $213 million to defend or to appeal Nathan Fields' case. And everyone knows that if you appeal a civil suit, there's some type of penalty if you lose that appeal. So while they're charging the city to appeal a case that they know they're going to lose, the city is paying them money and then got to come back and pay that $20 million plus to Nathan Fields. There's another case. Mark Maxson, who was released from Stateville Correctional Institution, had been locked up almost 28 years for a crime that he didn't commit. The DNA wasn't his DNA on the victim or on the evidence that they found. Another individual, they committed another murder. When they took his DNA to put into the database or whatever it is, up came the hit. Hey, this DNA we've seen before. Mark Maxson was freed because of this new evidence. He got a certificate of innocence. The young man that did the crime did a video confession. All this was in the news. Don't take Gator's word for it. Just Google Mark Maxson. And you'll see me going to Stateville to pick him up and bring him out to his mom. They going to court, the lawyers that's getting part of this $213 million to defend cops in trouble. So the city from what I'm reading in public documents, there's public records in the federal court dealing with this case, want to sell a free mediation or someone to try to see if they can settle the case, because they can't win the case. And if the man that committed the crime do a plea deal and plead guilty or get found guilty, then the stakes are going to go higher. But those lawyers that's hired in the Mark Maxson case to represent the city in this case don't care. They're getting paid, from what I'm hearing, from $300 an hour, or $250 an hour, to $400 an hour. They don't care. And as a matter of fact, I think one of the individuals that was on the case used to work for the city Department of Lawyers, whatever they call themselves. Then he went into private practice. And when you look at the law firms, it's the same law firms. Constantly pinstripe patronage. I'm not screaming it now. I was screaming it, and on record for screaming it, when Ron was the mayor. When Daley was the mayor. I made mention one time when I was able to speak before the public gathering about the same thing. So after the mayor had gave her state of the city address and pretty much put it out there that she expect the public to be able to say something to help her fill this gap, $832 million gap. Want to know what did the public think? Because she knows she may have to come with some taxes. She want the public's input. And I'm glad she did that, because other mayors didn't. So I said on my show several times that the mayor need to do an audit of their law department to stop the wasteful spending of taxpayers' dollars to defend cases that's indefensible. Can't defend them. Can't win. So when I read the story in the Tribune, I would say, wow. People, we have a right to put in FOIAs. I'll put in a FOIA to ask the question, how much money was the law department or the city through the law department was paying private attorneys when they have attorneys? How much money did they spend in the Mark Maxson case? I'm waiting for them to give me those numbers. I'm sure that they will, because now it's out, and it's from my understanding, Mayor Lori Lightfoot is now asking that question, because she don't have to fill out no FOIA. She get on the phone and say, hey, law department, I want an update on the expenditure. How much money have we spent on this case? And they got to tell her. Mark Fleishner, who's the corporate counsel for the city of Chicago, believes hiring outside counsel costs the city much money. He's the new corporate counsel for the new mayor that says, turn the lights on. I want to say, hooray, hooray, hooray for Mayor Lightfoot for bringing on Mark Flessner, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But Mark is his first name. And he's now the corporation counsel for the city of Chicago. And he believes hiring outside counsel cost the city much more than the $213 million that the Tribune discovered. Expending costs. Chicago's problem with civil rights lawsuits stems from the police department's history of error, misconduct, and abuse. Those shortcomings have resulted in the department operating under a consent decree overseen by a federal judge with broad powers to force changes to the way police treat people. Our mayor, Lori Lightfoot, I'm of the opinion, is going to make sure that that decree is enforced. In that environment, plaintiffs' lawyers routinely have won big jury awards, like the attorney that's representing Nate Fields. $20 million they won. So why would you appeal something that a jury come down and say that it was wrong, what they did to that man, to the point that the jury, not the judge, the jury awarded him $20 million. Big jury awards and settlements in civil court where the person suing only needs to show at trial. This is all the individual need to show. The person suing only needs to show at trial that the allegations are more likely true than not to win. He don't even need a preponderance of evidence. The person suing only needs to show at trial that the allegations are more likely than not to win. The standard is far less strict than one used in criminal court, where the prosecutors must prove their charges beyond a reasonable doubt. So how can you win a case like that? In Mark Maxon's case, how can the city think that they can win a case? And all this is public information. When they brought the young man in, because he was a murderer involved in another case, and he didn't report in there's some things you got to do by law when you have cases against a child or a juvenile. You have to register. He did not register, so the state had him arrested because they knew he was out there. And the judge that was in this case knew that that individual was on the street because of his DNA. And he wanted to know, where is this guy at? Evidence I came where I have to free this man. And then he came out, we know where he's supposed to be. So they went and arrested him on the fact that he didn't report. based on what's been put out there in the public media. And when they arrested him, they probably swabbed him again. DNA to the murder and his DNA matched. Killed a little baby. So when they got him, he can't get out. He confessed. He wrote letters to Mark Maxson, and he wrote a letter to the family. The city is aware of this, and Mayor Lightfoot, you're going to have your corporate counsel, Mark Flessner. He can call the state's attorney, Kim Foxx, to get an update, because the federal judge in the Mark Maxson case was telling both parties, when they come back for a status hearing, give him the update. Well, Gator, how you know all this? Because I go to the court. I sit there, I look, I listen, and I learn. And I go to the 20th floor, which is the clerk's office, and I see the motions that were filed. I see the response from the city. I see the reply to the city's response. I see the court orders. And I know that that's a wasteful spending of taxpayers' dollars to a few lawyers that know that they're milking the city. So the city paid millions of dollars, $213 million, to lawyers. That ain't counting the millions, multi-millions, to individuals where they have lawsuits or where they have settled. So Madam Mayor, or Mayor Lori Lightfoot, hooray, 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 for putting the light on everything, because that's the only way the people in the city of Chicago going to understand what you have to do to close that $832 million, or whatever it is, hole within the budget. And by you having that state of the city address for everyone to listen to it, be it that we were in the bars, barbershops, or beauty salons. Let us understand this story. Stop the pinstripe patronage. That can help you with the budget. That can help you with the budget. Say 10 million here, 20 million there, whatever it costs, whatever you got to do. You got to do things with the fire department and the police department. And on that note, because I'm about to close it up, I want to also say this to our mayor. Senator Cruz, he don't want to come to Chicago. He's not cruising for abusing. So, Mayor, thank you for standing up for your city and our city. And with that, I'm going to say, everybody, March 17th, 2020, vote for Justice House to be the Supreme Court judge. Vote for Justice Mike Hyman to become the appellate court judge. Vote for Desiree Bachman to become the circuit court judge, and re-elect Kim Fox as the Cook County State's Attorney. Vote, don't choke. March 17th, 2020. To God be the glory.